And here is the woman herself, Kamala Harris, earlier today. And yes, we got another word salad about aspirations, dreams, hopes.
We have to tap into and rejoice, frankly, in the spirit of who we are as Americans. And we are an ambitious people. We have aspirations. We have dreams. We are optimistic by nature. And we, I think, value certain qualities in our leaders.
Now, Tim Walz was on The View today, and it was precisely what you'd expect, a softball, boring and at times unhinged affair. I watched it, so you don't have to. You're welcome. Here are 3 highlights. Let's start with Whoopi Goldberg proving to the world that she doesn't understand election laws, and she's also here lashing out at Elon Musk.
And this, people keep trying to buy the election.
Yeah.
Billionaire Elon Musk has gone all in for you-know-who, and now he's giving out $1 million a day to people who sign his super PAC's petition. What? Now, I thought that was against the law, but apparently they've found some new loop stuff that allowed this to go. I thought you couldn't do this. What's happening?
Well, I think that's what you do when you have no plan for the public, when you have no economic plan that's going to benefit the middle class, when you have no plan to protect reproductive rights, when you have no plan to address climate change and produce American energy, you go to these type of tactics. It's all about distraction.
There's a concept of a plan.
Yeah.
Aren't these tactics against the law, though? Aren't you?
Well, I'll let the lawyers decide.
Elon has found some new loop stuff. Even someone as dense as Tim Walz knows that's not against the law, but he doesn't say it there, does he? Of course, it's not against the law to incentivise people to sign a petition. It's a petition, not a ballot. And given the Democrats have a big problem with male voters, why would they send Walz to a program watched by no men and no sane women either, really? At least they gave him a present.
So we've got The View and a dad in plaid.
That's the single greatest thing I've ever got.
So that's for you to freshen up that wardrobe a little.
And if you win, will you wear it back and come back and visit us? When you win, will you wear it back and come back and visit us?
But that's what I was going to say. You know I'm wearing this.
And finally, here is Tim Walz claiming that he is a better shot than Republicans and has the trophies to prove it. If you believe that, you'll believe anything.
So you're out hunting pheasants.
Yep.
Is that enough to convince people there's a middle ground on this issue? Because right now, right-wingers are coming after you for how you handle your shotgun.
Well, I can shoot better than all of them. I got the trophies to prove it.
Joining me now is Newsweek's senior editor-at-large, Josh Hammer. Josh, Elon Musk has been busy catching rockets and talking politics, and this little anecdote he tells about a voter who tried to show his ID shows just how crazy the system is in America and why so many people have little faith in the integrity of elections.
A friend of mine went to vote in Palo Alto in California because he was like, is this real or not? And he like tried to show his ID, and it was like presenting a cross to a vampire. Like they're like, no, put the ID away.
Josh, polls show that the majority of Americans, not just the majority of Republicans, support voter ID. Why are the Democrats so dead set against the idea?
So, Rita, first of all, I actually voted early. I'm wearing my little sticker here. I'm wearing my voted early sticker. I actually went to the local poll here in Florida, and I voted just about 3 hours before I'm talking to you. So for any Americans out there in the audience, I would strongly encourage you to do what I did and to go and vote early. There is no reason to leave this to Election Day. Now, personally, Rita, my own personal opinion on this is that I think it should be only one Election Day. Make it a national holiday if you have to. I don't like this whole early voting thing, but as long as that's the rule here in America, I intend to take advantage of it. On on the voter ID thing, because 3 hours ago when I voted in Florida, I showed up with my voter ID, and it was basically a cakewalk. I have no good reason as to why Democratic elites, and here's the key point, it really is only Democratic elites. This is an issue that polls like 75 to 25, 70, 30, depends how exactly you want to do it, but a majority of Hispanics, a majority of Black Americans, there is really no demographic subgroup in America that I am aware of where a majority does not support voter ID legislation. Because walking around here in the United States, you need a voter ID to do basically anything. You want to go into a government building to get a marriage certificate, or you want to talk about your taxes, whatever, you need to show your voter ID. You want to go buy a case of alcohol, a bottle of vodka, tequila, whatever, you need an ID. You want to board an airplane, you need an ID. It makes no sense whatsoever that you would not need an ID to do something as powerful, as important, as actually choosing the direction of the fate of our republic. And I can think of no reason, frankly, to oppose this other than that you actually want illegal aliens to vote. You actually want fraud. I have to conclude that actually is the reason, Rita. I'm trying not to be cynical here, but I cannot think of another reason. I just can't.
Josh, you're so right. As you said, the overwhelming majority of Americans support voter ID. So why would the Democrats be so against it unless there is some dishonest reason? Why wouldn't you want to boost confidence in elections when that confidence has really fallen in recent years? Now, it is also becoming increasingly clear that the Democrats have a big problem with male voters, white male voters, Black, Hispanic, it's across the board. And how are they addressing this issue? Well, they're sending Tim Walz to The View. And predictably, he was asked no tough questions, no had any of his outlandish claims I don't know, fact-checked?
Right now, right-wingers are coming after you for how you handle your shotgun.
Well, I can shoot better than all of them. I got the trophies to prove it.
What do you think? Is this interview going to boost their chances with male voters? And what is the answer to that problem? Because it's obviously one they're grappling with.
Yeah, I think for every second that Tim Walz sat down on that set with the not so very fine ladies of The View, he was probably losing testosterone in real time, frankly. So, if they're trying to make inroads with the male voters that they have clearly alienated, by the way, the media, Rita, speaking of the media, they also misrepresent this gender gap here in the 2024 election. They talk all the time about how Republicans have a women problem, and they usually blame it on the abortion issue. They never talk about this. They never talk about the fact that men are going to vote for Trump over Kamala Harris at a historic rate. And part of that is because they're not willing to actually be introspective and to look into the mirror a little bit and ask some very difficult, poignant questions as to why that might be the case. First of all, I think you have to look at the transgender issue, the whole notion of gender ideology. The overwhelming majority of men in America are not down for that. I don't think the majority of women are down for that either. It definitely is not something that men want to hear when you try to tell them that if you feel like a woman, you can actually be a woman. How about just good old school fashion common sense about trying to instill virtues in men, trying to get men to be protectors of the home, to marry young and to have children and to raise family. All of the great virtues that men who are trained in those virtues have been able to rise to over the centuries. The Democratic Party in its current form has no interest in this whatsoever. They are solely interested in demasculating men out there. I don't know exactly how they get themselves out of this because they're really in it pretty deep at this point, but at a bare minimum, a good place to start be to stop with all the DEI woke nonsense, because the entire current paradigm through which the left operates here in America, and I guess the Western world more generally, when you talk about diversity, equity, inclusion, wokeism, it all ends up being basically a war against men, against whites, Christians, and really white Christian men above all. And unless and until the Democratic Party stops these explicitly racist, anti-white, explicitly anti-male, sexist policies, I don't think that you're going to see those kind of voters go back anytime soon. What happened to the good old-fashioned Martin Luther King Jr. sentiment, judge me not by the color of my skin or my genitalia structure, if I can extrapolate? How about we just judge everyone based on the content of their character and their individual merit? That would be a better America, I think.